Hello everyone. Today is Tuesday the 2nd of June. Thank you to everyone who contributed to our worship on Sunday in whatever capacity, either out front or behind the scenes, or indeed both. Now, listen to these ways of expressing the same deep, universal human instinct. They come from different places around the world. See when the penny drops for you and when you realize what I'm talking about. In Tibet, you'd stick out your tongue, but in Malaysia, you'd place your hand over your heart. If you were in Zimbabwe or Mozambique and you were trying to follow the local culture, you'd clap your hands. But if you were in Greenland or Tuvalu, you'd sniff each other's faces. In some of the Gulf states, however, you'd bump noses, while in New Zealand you'd use your nose slightly differently and you would rub noses. Then if you flew on to Japan, you would bow, and bow very elegantly. I imagine pretty much everybody has twigged on by now what I'm talking about. But just to clarify, in many parts of the world, people enact this global activity by kissing each other on one cheek, then the other, while in many other parts of the world, they shake hands. These are, of course, all means of greeting from around the world. This impulse to greet certainly seems to be really deeply rooted. Remember how, as coronavirus was starting to creep in amongst us, in an effort to compensate for not shaking hands, we started to bump elbows. But now, with the need for social distancing being rightly ingrained into us more and more, even this recent adaptation will have to be rethought. But I'll guarantee you that as a human family, we will come up with a variety of options depending on where in the world we are. This just underlines how important the instinct to greet one another really is. And very often, our rituals of greeting are closely connected to the concept of peace. Malawi practiced handshaking, but the local custom was that as you extended your right hand to shake the hand of someone else, you touched your right elbow with your left hand. You maintained this contact with your elbow throughout the whole process of handshaking. This, you see, was to show that you had nothing hidden in your left hand and that you therefore came in peace. And strange as it may seem to us, demonstrating a peaceable attitude is actually the purpose of sticking your tongue out at someone in Tibet. You see, there had once been a cruel king called Lang Dharma. He had a black tongue. Years later, in that religious cultural setting, some monks came up with the idea of sticking their tongues out as a means of greeting, to show that they did not have a black tongue, were not a reincarnation of bad Lang Dharma, and therefore came in peace. As a way of greeting, it stuck. You know, in the Jewish Hebraic tradition, peace is a big part of how you greet someone in everyday life and of what you say to them when you part from them. So on meeting someone, you might say, Shalom Aleichem, literally, well-being and peace be upon you. More idiomatically, this means, I hope you are well. At the end of a conversation, it carries the sense of, may you remain well. Or, on meeting someone, you might ask them, Ma shlomka? What is your state of well-being and peace? In other words, how are you? The Talmud, which is really a commentary on the Bible as a book of law, says, the name of God is peace. Furthermore, it insists that the entire law is for the sake of the ways of peace. This drives home that if laws do not promote peace with justice, they are not of God, no matter how religious the framers of those laws may think they are. At the deepest level, a lack of true peace equals an absence of God. For the Jewish Hebraic way of thinking, the law was not a burden with rules and regulations to be kept. Instead, it was a pleasant thing, an easy yoke, because each individual law was a little path leading to a measure of peace. Maimonides, a great Jewish philosopher from the Middle Ages, argues that the law was given to promote peace in the whole wide world. In all of this, I love how the importance of the theme of peace is central to a proper interpretation and understanding of what the Bible is all about, what our faith is all about, and how we are called to live in the world. Peace and the search for peace is the golden thread that runs through everything and holds it all together. Knowing this adds so much depth and force and texture to the voice of the psalmist when he says that we are called to seek peace and pursue it. And it adds that same depth and richness and texture to the voice of the resurrected Jesus when he says, "Peace be with you. As the Father sent me, so I am sending you." Sending us, people like us, to bring peace, to share peace, to live peace. In this season of Pentecost, may the Spirit turn us towards peace in all of its aspects, all of its dimensions, and at all of its levels. So peace be in our hearts and in our homes. Peace be in all our living. Peace be in how we greet one another. May peace be our goal in everything. May peace be the reality that wins out over all other realities in these odd, anxiety-inducing coronavirus times. May the search for peace be a key part of every culture, in every part of the world at this time. And you know, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, may we reflect a little of the peace of God, a little of the peace that passes understanding. Amen. I'll speak to you again on Thursday. Until then, God bless. Peace be with you.